Is the Bookwalker Thief of Tales worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 178 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, I before E, except after C? Is that how it works?
Yes, in both Thief and Series.
All right. That's good to know. And we are talking about this game, Bookwalker Thief of Tales, developed by Do My Best.
Shouldn't we all?
Shouldn't we all? Yeah.
Ganbare.
The game came out in June of 2023. And I play this on the PC per usual. 11.98 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
My face says it all, Chris. I am perplexed at how it could be so large on the PC because it was a paltry, and I appreciate the sequence of this, 4.56 gigabytes.
Ooh, I like that too. But yeah, that is surprising, the expansion on the PC that it did, apparently.
It's nearly triple.
It's like they added extra chapters to this book.
It is. Or maybe it's in large print.
It's in large print. Yeah. It's got the audio version too. I don't know. Anyway, what kind of game is this, Tom?
I have first/third person narrative adventure.
Ooh, okay. I started kind of similar. I put first person / isometric, turn-based puzzle game.
You crammed a lot of words in there. I agree on isometric. Yeah. Isometric is probably a better descriptor for what I'm saying when I say third person. But
yeah, it is that, and what a weird thing. But before we get to the weirdness, let's get into our game loop. Tom, what do we got here?
Okay, so the reason it's a first/third person is because you're hopping in and out of books to solve puzzles and make your way to recovering artifacts for your employer.
Okay. I put explore books and steal items from them to get you out of your 30-year writer's sentence.
Yes.
Because this world apparently is run by writers of some sort of big, weird world organization. But let's get into that. What do we like about this game, Tom?
I really enjoy the idea that you dive into a book and the whole game changes.
Yeah.
It starts as a first-person kind of point-and-click game, right, and then it becomes this like third-person, almost like an RPG.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Honestly, when you look at the cover art, I just didn't know what to expect. I thought, like, because a couple of screenshots showed that third-person isometric, or the isometric world. But then when I actually opened this game and you start off as this first person character, I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, what? So that was like, that already like, boom, like got me intrigued with this game. Cause it was just like, and again, like kind of like how what I was kind of alluded to earlier, where the game is this weird kind of concept where, like, I guess authors or this government run by of some sort of organization that has these writers kind of policing or something the world. It's just so strange. It's so strange. And I was like, I don't even know where this concept came from. It's so weird. But I don't know how you felt about that.
No, I thought the plot was very interesting. I think I've always thought that like jumping into books is like a cool power. Mm-hmm. Like jumping into fantasy worlds and like being able to take things back out with you. Yeah. Which is exactly what this is. Yep. Except that somebody's kind of like making you do it so that, like you said, to reduce your sentence. Yeah. This is your penance or whatever, Yeah. Time off for good behavior.
Well, that's the thing. This is illegal what he's doing. Because apparently you're not supposed to be messing around with the themes and the characters within these worlds and stealing stuff, because this is like you took the shady route to try to lower your sentence here. And like it was just such an interesting way to think about a game, I guess. And and like you said, like books are literally where you kind of dive in, your imagination dives into these letters and stuff like that, and like you create this world in your mind. So it's like they literally took that whole concept and then made it into a game. I was like, this is really cool. And if I would be very surprised, I would be very disappointed if a game about books had terrible writing. But this was actually pretty good. I'd say the conversations just felt like natural. Your character goes into this first book, and you come to find out there is this character that's from another book. They don't know who they are. You kind of name them, and then so there's again adding more intrigue to what the heck is going on. They become kind of like your companion throughout this whole world. Yes. And and you have this banter or immediately with them. And I was like, this is great. Like, it was nice. And you can actually literally like just talk to them to get clues on what you need to do next and stuff like that. Cause it's like, I've read, because this character's already read the book completely. So they know all the kind of plot twists and stuff like that. So it was like, again, it's like this concept of just the books keep going and going and going. So it's just, I liked it. I really liked that cool idea. So
I loved that too. It was definitely there in my likes. I appreciate that in that banter, you discover that the protagonist hates spoilers, yes. Which I do too.
Yes.
And so, your companion could spoil things for you. And the protagonist is like, no, I don't want to know. Like, you're going to ruin it. Even though, like, it would make your life easier if you took the spoiler, right?
Sure.
But I appreciate it. Like, you want things to happen as they happen narratively when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, but the game kind of gave me the sense. And I guess kind of a positive too. I was able to complete this first book in the hour. So I thought that was nice to be able to like actually get a taste of what this game really was. So kudos to that. But I also thought that there was, because at the end of this hour, you make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think, does that mean this game has potentially different endings? So I was like, okay, gives you that kind of potential for replayability. So I was like, really, this is, adds all that stuff to it. And I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm here for that whole thought process with this. It's like almost like the choose your own adventure in a video game. So
I also have that down. I put down that it seems like your choices matter.
Yeah.
And so I guess even the illusion that that's true is enough for me.
Interesting. So I did not split the potion.
And I did.
Yeah, you did. So you were fired.
Yes.
Oh, so they figured it out.
Yes. He said, like, the response is, I sent you in there for a full, like, a potion. This is not a potion. This is half a potion. You're fired.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow. All right. That's good to know. There you go. There's two different branches right there that have happened. And I'm glad I'm glad you chose that and I chose the other way too. So that's good. Now we do know we have some sort of idea there. Yeah. And on top of all this, and you kind of alluded to it being an RPG, there is a combat system in the isometric world. So every once in a while, you'll get into a random encounter, and this time, the way that they describe it in the game is it's a manifestation of this character's fears. And in this case, it is spiders. So you've got to attack the spiders, and just a turn-based combat. You've got a couple of actions that you can do. And you kind of talked about here. There's like, I guess you have a concept of ink. You have health, but you also have this thing called ink that I guess gives you action points to use.
Yes, it's like your mana, I guess. Way of describing it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, so that's cool, and you pick up stuff too, which can be disappointing for me a lot of times, like Bethesda games. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know, but I think they did a nice thing here, which you pointed out. So
yes. So I'm a hoarder in video games, especially games like Bethesda games, where there's tons of stuff and you can pick it up, and a lot of it's just junk.
Yeah.
But here, the junk items can be recycled into ink, so you can deconstruct them into this resource, and then if you have enough of the resource, you can upcycle it into a potion, basically.
Yeah.
So
that's always cool. I appreciate that they took the time to satiate Tom's hoarding.
Yes. What was the Big Con did a good one with it too, where you had like some NPC who was just like, oh yeah, you've got a bunch of crap. I'll take all that off your hands and give you money for it. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
Yes, very true. That was a good game, and we both completed it, so that was cool too. Now I think we're good with we've completed our likes.
Yes,
shall we roll into our
ready to move on.
Let's move on then. Tom, this game has the weird voices.
Yeah, it does.
It's I would say it's more disturbing than the typical Charlie Brown voices that we've dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
We got like this very deep, almost like European accent, but it's just gibberish,
nonsense
that that your character is saying in the first person world. In the book world, there's no audio at all with the conversations. There's no like clicking noises, no Charlie Brown noises, nothing, which is good. I appreciate that they didn't roll this voice thing into that world. That would have been a problem, I thought, but this was still kind of weird.
Yeah. There's this, I had problems with the dialogue just in general. Like there's lots of text. There's no voice acting. It's worse than that mumble talking thing that you've got there.
Right.
Then they're having a phone conversation, but it's not telling you which lines are yours and which ones are the person on the other end of the line. So I had found it hard to follow, which is weird because again, it's a book. It's a game about reading books.
Right. I had the same feeling, and then I just realized the little images. Like if the person's on the phone, it'll show you the phone. Whereas I think it was just like a black box or something like that, if I recall correctly.
Oh.
So like, but it was a little, but I get what you're saying because it didn't seem like you were indicated who was talking properly. I think they did a better job in the third, like in the isometric world, which is, it almost feels like in a way, it almost feels disjointed, like two totally separate development studios worked on this and then they kind of smashed everything together.
Yes, it feels like two games that were just kind of glued together or slammed together.
Right. So that's kind of weird. I also put that it's not terrible, but there is no way you can remap controls.
Yeah.
But the game, while you're playing it for the most part, again, in the this is weird. In the third person mode, they do a good job of indicating like what your buttons actually do. There's actually a pretty nifty looking UI, I would say, in the third person mode. Kind of gave me like that Persona vibe. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But again, the first person, it was like, I guess they were just like, well, you've played first person games before, you don't need a whole thing about it. But I'm like, yeah, but you interact with the world a little bit. You're not punching or kicking anything, but tell me what I need to do. I don't know. That was just my thought.
And I also found some like awkwardness with the first person part of the game. I thought the walking around felt kind of jerky. The movement just didn't feel quite right to me in that space.
We forgot to talk about the fact that you can bring real world things into the book world.
Yes. You can hop out and then hop back in with new equipment.
Yes. So I thought, again, it's a nice thing, but it also kind of, I don't know, does it feel kind of slapped together in that way? I don't know. Maybe it preps you for the other books where you might have to do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it is a puzzle game, right? There are things that you need to do, you need to figure out. And so that's kind of something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Like the game's like, oh, if you had a sledgehammer, you could take down this wall. But the sledgehammer doesn't exist in book world.
Right.
So you got to come out to real world, go talk to your neighbors. Yeah. And one of them will lend you the sledgehammer. Then you take it back with you into the book world and use it to knock down a wall.
Yeah. What else you got here, Tom?
Well, I got to tell you, so that companion character is named Roderick. Mm-hmm. But I noticed that Roderick's name is given before you name him.
Yes. I noticed that too. That was weird.
And there are other little inconsistencies like that, things that just feel lack of polish, or it's sort of like, I guess they had a plan for you to find out this information later, but if you open up a menu or do something, you can spoil something for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like how I figured out Roderick's name is I think I went into the menus or something and it said, such Roderick.
Okay.
And I was like, well, who the heck is Roderick? And then I realized, and then like a couple of, moments later, he was named. I was like, oh,
right,
okay.
Right. Yeah, and I think even in the UI, it like labeled him Roderick.
Maybe that's what it was.
Something that was too. I was like, huh, that's weird. Okay. Well, now you know.
Yeah, there are other times where just weird, like I said, inconsistencies. Like I accidentally consumed a stack of food without any kind of warning.
Yeah.
Like I had two of, I don't know if they were apples or something like that. And I was in battle, I think. And then it ate both of them. And I was like, well, maybe I didn't want to eat both of them,
Yeah.
There's not really a tutorial in that regard to like warn you of those things. It just kind of happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unfortunate. And I mean, overall, like, again, like the UI I thought looked pretty good. And then there's just certain things that, they kind of, maybe they were just in a rush or a bind to just get it out. I don't know. But one thing that I thought was kind of weird, like as much as there's kind of agency in what you do in the dialogue, the turn-based combat felt like there's only a few ways to play it. And maybe, again, we're early on in the game, so maybe that adds more layers to it and whatnot. But like there was like you had an attack option and like a stun option. And I was like, okay, so and then you would have like at least 2 to 3 enemy types, and you don't have much health. I think it was like 4 pips, maybe 5. And they take out one at a time. So I'm like, okay, I don't want them to hit me. So I'm always just going to start with stun so that they don't have a turn and I'm just going to attack them. And then like just going like that. So like, yeah, it just felt like didn't seem like there was too many layers to that combat.
Yeah. I definitely got there's a golden path to do this correctly.
Yeah.
And if you do it wrong, you may just die.
Right. Right. And I mean, again, because of Baldur's Gate has ruined every RPG for the rest of my life, just like they didn't seem like there was creativity in that gameplay mechanic.
Yeah,
that's all.
And I would use this as a segue to say, and sometimes like playing combat, it doesn't feel like your choices. It feels like you almost have to make a certain choice. There's times in the actual game world when you're, going through the action sequences or what have you.
Yeah.
Going through the dialogue where your choices don't matter. Like there's a prisoner and there are like 13 different ways, and I'm exaggerating here, but there are several different ways to try to help save the character.
Yeah.
None of them work.
None of them work. Yeah.
So I kind of felt like, okay, well, I understand that this prisoner needs to stay in prison, but and I don't know.
I mean, I think also Roderick kind of talks to you about that too, where he does say like, you can't move him because this is where he's supposed to be in this book at this particular point in time. And, you being a game player, you're like, well, I want to try to break it. And it just doesn't let you. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I can see both sides of that, and I also see how well they did give you a choice at the end of that end of the book, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. I see what you're saying, because it was like, maybe you'll get more choices later on in the game. Maybe we'll see.
I could see a scenario where they're trying to more or less keep it on rails early game to not overwhelm you,
right?
And then also like, if you're going to have branching paths, you don't want it to start branching too soon, because then it gets really out of control.
True.
So you need the trunk to be pretty limited.
Yeah. And in terms of controls, I played this game initially on mouse and keyboard. I wanted to see how it played and how it felt with a controller. Honestly, I think it felt a little bit better on controller than it did on mouse and keyboard, because like with it just played more like a traditional point and click, especially in the isometric portions of the game. And like at that point, I just felt like I was just trying to click aimlessly at everywhere in the game. Whereas like, when I am moving my left stick over to a particular object, it highlights nicely, and it's like, okay, pick up object, open object, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
It's context sensitive in that way. So I don't know how you felt about playing it on the controller, but
I was pretty happy playing it on the controller, at least in that isometric part of the game.
Yeah.
Most of my problems with the controls were in the first person mode.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any other things, or shall we get to our other thoughts here?
Last little pet peeve of mine is that it's unclear if/when the game is autosaving, and there's no way to manually save. Right. That's just something that irks me. I like to be able to stop when I want to stop, not when the game wants me to stop. So, grr.
What a band. Bad Bookwalker. But
yeah. Well, I want to be able to dog ear a page if I want to. Stop right in the middle of a paragraph.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But now let's talk about our other thoughts here. How long to beat? Tom says this game takes about 6 hours to complete. Another shorty.
Yeah.
It is xCloud capable, and that means you can play this on the go. And it seems like a game that you could play on the go with relatively no issues. So that's cool. What you got, Tom?
So Do My Best is a 2-person studio, 2 whole people.
Wow.
Their prior game is titled The Final Station.
Okay.
Don't know too much about it. They're in the 6 hours of playing this game. There are 6 books to investigate, and each one is different in setting and genre. So I think that could be very interesting as you play through it. And the 2 people who make up this Russian independent game studio are Oleg Sergin and Andrei Rumak. And I apologize to both of those people if I messed up those pronunciations.
Yeah. Well, very impressive that they, 2 people got this done. It's very cool.
Maybe one of them made the first person, and one of them made the third person.
There you go. There's the idea right there. It was just smashed together.
Maybe we like one of these 2 people better than the other. We should find out.
Yikes. Yeah, we'll find out. But all right. Now we need to find out, Tom. Are we keeping this on our respective hard drives or ripping up these pages?
Okay. Well, I alluded to it here with my little quip, but I found the first person sections are really clunky and I did not enjoy them. But I kind of also feel like maybe that was done on purpose because this character is more comfortable in the book. Right? Yeah. I think it was definitely a design choice where it's like they're going to feel very different.
Yeah.
I think the third person segments are way better and totally worth continuing. So I think I will.
Nice. Okay.
It is the bulk of the game is in the book. So as long as that continues, I think I'm going to have a good time.
Nice. And I just realized I never actually finished writing the notes here on my final thoughts, but the game really did catch me by just surprise. Like I didn't know what to expect with this game. And other quick side note, I didn't realize that the character's face was an actual book in the third person mode. And that was really disturbing when I really looked at it. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, how did that? Because like when you look at the cover art really quickly, it's like, oh, cool. He's got like some cool flowy hair. And it's like
wavy hair.
Yeah, it's not wavy hair. It's pages. The back of his head is just
an open book.
Split open. It's an open book.
You can read him like an open book, but only from behind.
Only from behind. Okay. So the game caught me by surprise. Unique concept. Super short game. Another short game. That just really respects my time. I think I'm going to go back to this game and finish it and see what the heck is going on. And clearly we are already on 2 different paths. So it's almost like a good opportunity for us to see what happens. So
yeah, maybe I continue to be the good guy and you continue to be the jerk.
Yeah.
I'll play Paragon, you play Renegade, and we'll see where we end up.
There we go. So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter or on Threads at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at tc1h1d@outlook.com, or you know what? We play these games on Twitch. Check us out on Twitch. I did a long playthrough of Harold Halibut. I completed that game too, by the way, Tom. And that was that. We do that there on Twitch, and say hello there. Or we're on YouTube too. We are on YouTube. We put these out here for you to watch the game, watch us, interact, and you can comment down below. So. Do all that stuff because we appreciate that. And so, 1H1D is part of that Q2E network. If you like gaming podcasts and any other cool gaming content, they got blogs and TikToks and all that fun stuff. Check it all out. quitthebuild.com/network. Now, Tom.
Yes.
We need to find out what we're playing next.
It is very important.
Very, very important as we go to episode 179. Here we go. Ooh.
And the answer is?
The answer is Immortals of Avium?
I believe it if you say it. I'm not sure.
Of Avium. I'm sticking with that. You're going to stick with that. And thank you so much for sticking with us on this episode. And we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.